Before Hollywood created legendary cowboys. Before movies romanticized fearless lawmen riding through the Wild West. There was a black man whose name struck fear into criminals across America. A man so skilled, so fearless, that outlaws would surrender the moment they realized he was hunting them. Yet somehow, history almost erased him completely. His name was Bass Reeves. And this may be one of the greatest stories America never truly told. In the late 1800s, the American frontier was a dangerous place. Violence ruled the land. Outlaws robbed banks, murdered innocent people, and disappeared into territories where law barely existed. Many lawmen refused to enter these areas. Some never came back alive. But there was one man criminals feared more than anyone else. Bass Reeves. A former enslaved black man who would become one of the most legendary lawmen in American history. But to understand how extraordinary his story truly was, we have to go back to where it all began. Bass Reeves was born into slavery in 1838 in Arkansas. Like millions of black Americans during that era, he entered a world where freedom was something he was never supposed to experience. He belonged to a slave owner named William Reeves. And for years, Bass lived under brutal conditions with little control over his own life. But everything changed during the American Civil War. According to historical accounts, Bass eventually escaped slavery after a violent altercation with his enslaver. He fled into Indian Territory, what is now modern-day Oklahoma. And that decision changed history forever. Life in Indian Territory was harsh, dangerous, unforgiving. But it was there that Bass Reeves transformed himself. He learned survival skills, mastered tracking, became an expert marksman, and learned multiple Native American languages while living among tribal communities. These skills would later make him nearly unstoppable. Because Bass Reeves wasn't just strong. He was intelligent, patient, strategic, and unlike many men of his time, he understood how to survive in places others feared. Then came 1875, a turning point that would forever place his name in history. A federal judge named Isaac Parker, later known as the hanging judge, needed deputy marshals capable of bringing order to one of the most dangerous regions in America. Most men were terrified of the assignment. But Bass Reeves accepted it. And from that moment on, legends began to spread. Bass Reeves became one of the first black deputy U.S. Marshals west of the Mississippi River. At a time when racism defined America. At a time when many black men were denied even basic human rights. Bass Reeves wore a badge and hunted some of the deadliest criminals in the country. And he was unbelievably good at it. Over the course of his career, Bass Reeves arrested more than 3,000 criminals. Yes, more than 3,000. Many were murderers, thieves, and violent fugitives who believed they could never be captured. But Bass always found them. Stories about him spread across the frontier like wildfire. People said he could track criminals for miles through forests, mountains, and deserts. Some said he used disguises to infiltrate outlaw camps. Others claimed he had almost supernatural instincts. And perhaps the most incredible part of all. Despite constantly facing armed criminals, Bass Reeves survived countless dangerous missions. Not because he was reckless, but because he was disciplined, calm under pressure, and always thinking ahead. But even a man as legendary as Bass Reeves could not escape the racism of his era. Many history books barely mention him. Hollywood ignored him for decades. And while fictional cowboys became global icons, the real black lawman who helped shape the American West was pushed into the shadows. Some historians even believe Bass Reeves may have inspired the character of the Lone Ranger. A fearless lawman, master horse rider, expert shooter, fighting injustice across dangerous territory. But while fictional heroes became famous, Bass Reeves remained largely forgotten. And maybe that's what makes his story so powerful today. Because Bass Reeves represents something much bigger than one man. He represents the stories history tried to bury. The heroes who existed, but were never fully acknowledged. The brilliance, courage, and resilience that survived even when the world refused to recognize it. Today, more people are finally beginning to rediscover his legacy. Books are being written. Films and television series are exploring his story. And millions are learning that one of the greatest lawmen in American history was a black man born into slavery. A man who refused to let the world define his limits. But perhaps the most important lesson from Bass Reeves is this. History is not always lost. Sometimes, it is hidden. And every hidden story waiting to be uncovered has the power to change how we see the world. For years, stories like this were ignored, buried beneath silence. But they survived. And here on this channel, we're going to continue bringing them back to light. Because black history is not just history. It is power. It is resilience. It is truth. And some stories deserve to be remembered forever. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to Black History Stories for more untold stories that change the world. And tell us in the comments, what forgotten story should the world hear next? Until next time, stay curious,